And I'm the same. I think we could have had this done properly. The province could have bought up land and protected this land, and those rent protections could be so much stronger. There's loopholes in the tenant relocation policies, and I will close those loopholes. And I will fight for renters, and we can do so much more. And I'm proud to say that Jean Swanson voted against it. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Yes, so the team is strongly opposed to the Broadway plan in its current form. We need more housing, but we need to do it right. I organized a rally calling for a pause to the Broadway plan on November 23rd in 2024, which was a smash success. The Broadway plan in its current form is going to displace potentially thousands of tenants. It's going to fundamentally challenge the character of neighborhoods, and in the process, it's going to build a bunch of housing and essentially fail to do the thing it purports to do, which is provide affordability. Okay? We need more housing, but the Broadway plan does not deliver the kind of housing that the average working people of Vancouver need.
I voted against the Broadway plan, and I voted against it. I've watched it unfold over time and watched it be manipulated every step of the way. And the others that voted for it have enabled it. Big surprise that things overstep as they go. We see things evolve over time using the past as precedent. It's very dangerous, and it's being used as a mechanism for land speculation and inflation within the 500 blocks of the Broadway plan area. There are 140 rezoning applications that will, for high-rises, that will displace what amounts to a quarter of all of the affordable rental housing in this city. And it must be paused and thought through in balance, because building density without transit, without community amenities is just stupid.
Thank you. Next question.
Hi. I am a Mount Pleasant resident and have been since the 80s. I currently live in a home, fortunately, that I rent and have for the last 25 years. There is a rezoning application across the street from me for an 18-story building that makes absolutely no sense. There is no laneway. There is no parking allotments. There's like 60 parking spots, which is not going to work on our street. And it's a neighborhood where people have put a lot of time and money into, making it a beautiful heritage neighborhood and taking care of it and doing what City Hall asked them to do to make it beautiful. And I just want to know what you will do to stop this kind of development in my neighborhood.
Is there anybody you want to direct your question to specifically? Or
yeah, I'd like to ask one of the team candidates, please.
Yeah, so thanks for sharing.
A little on the mic there. So we need to review the development that is across from your street is part of the Broadway plan, and it's justified by a belief that we see on council that buys into this voodoo supply side economics. And there are some parties here today that are, have buddied up with groups that are promoting this kind of blockbusting, I call it trickle down housing. Build more high-rise luxury housing, and that's going to eventually become affordable for people. I mean, it's just ridiculous.
What you call shadow.
And so that kind of development, we need to review the Broadway plan, and we need to review height restrictions. I think we need mid-rise height restrictions. We can still do massive density and build a ton of good housing, but we don't need to be going 30 stories. The 20-story tower is a perfect symbol of what the market does when you don't regulate the market. It's like asking a dog why it barks. Of course it's going to bark. The market's going to go up. It's going to do what it does. We need to regulate that.
Okay, I'm going to ask that Colleen be given an extra 30 seconds to answer this question because it was...
What I just need to add is they're displacing 3 rental properties, and the landlords intimidating people to leave. And it's like, where are they going to live? So that's what I'm talking about.
That's a lawsuit.
Right, I'm going to give Ms. Hardwick a chance to answer that.
The first thing we have to do is stop the rampant rezoning, upzoning, because what happens when you rezone a piece of property to its value? It increases exponentially. What happens when you do hundreds of times over? A rising tide lifts all boats. And that's what's happening here. So we have to stop that. But the good news is there is boatloads of existing zone capacity that we can grow into. We can continue to grow at the development permit level, which doesn't have the same inflationary impact of rezoning. And we can make it more efficient, cost-effective to be growing in balance again, because we want to make sure that the growth that we do is in balance.
Thank you. Next question.
Hello. Would you support a 1.5% per annum luxury tax on every single family home worth more than $4 million in Vancouver? 1.5% per annum luxury tax additional. If not, why not? If you do support that, what would you do with roughly those $750 million a year that would generate? Thank you.
Okay, I think this will give us an opportunity to ask all the candidates. You got 30 seconds to answer. We are going to start with Karen, please.
Off the top of my head, no, I wouldn't. The reason is that single-family home living is not luxury living. It's taking responsibility for... $4 million. Oh, sorry. $4 million. Okay, you did say single-family homes, yeah.
Okay, thank you, sir. But you can take that into consideration when you cast your vote. Next, we're going to go to Lucy.
You'll have to forgive me. What I would like to do with that question is actually consult with members of the affected communities, my party, tax experts, before I formulated an opinion on that. I'm sorry, it's just something that I'd like to actually spend some time thinking about before I committed to an answer.
Annette?
Yeah, thank you. This one sounds to me like a mansion tax, and in theory, I love it. Whether or not we can actually input it through our current system, that is the question, and I don't know enough yet as to whether or not we can. I have been asking questions around this, and I look forward to looking into it more, but at this point in time, I don't even know if that's a feasible thing that we could implement. So let me continue looking. Thank you.
John?
Yes, absolutely support. I think in our platform it's a 1% tax on 5 million and over, and then at 10 million and over it would be 2% tax. And what would I do with the money? I would end homelessness. We can do this. It's easy, and yes, we can do it. There is a mechanism to do it. They said that about the vacancy tax, and we asked the province to amend the charter, and we did it. So it's definitely doable.
I've done no research on that process, but tax the rich, absolutely. If you can afford to help your fellow neighbors because you have a $5 billion or $4 million home, you should pay more. The more you make, the more you pay. It's okay. You can do it. Stop taxing everybody that doesn't have the money. And I would spend it on more recreational. And I completely agree with ending with homelessness. We have an opportunity, again, to be the beacon of light for the country on how to do a sustainable city on all fronts. That's my.
Thank you. Melissa?
I guess my answer to that is for everybody to be on BC Housing. Everybody just pays a flat rate. You don't have no worries about rent. Everybody, the government, some countries, the government pays the rent for you. You don't have no stress for that. BC Housing should be implemented for everybody who can't afford feed their tummy or feed their father, mother, baby, whatever. You know, it's like, screw this fucking $4,000 or $5,000 a month. Who can afford that? Or, you who can afford $1 million a month housing? Isn't that's incredible. That's stupid.
Thank you.
Simple.
So, member of team.
So I think that the mansion tax should not be attached to the value of your home. I think that it should be attached to your income. I think that if the mansion tax is applied to the value of your home, it could end up negatively affecting people who are land rich but cash poor. And people who there are people who have experienced massive increases in value in their home. They're living on a fixed income, they don't have a huge income. So I don't think that scaling out the mansion tax, rolling out the mansion tax, and attaching it to the value of someone's home is the right way of doing that.
Colleen?
Who knows what the mill rate is? How many people? Okay, well that is one of the defining factors of our taxation system. So it is a complex question of how we apply taxes across the city. What I can tell you is that it deserves a full audit and rethink, because there's been a lot of manipulation from within the city over the last number of years. I don't think making, generalizations when you're dealing with complexity is a good idea at the best of times. But when the province came in with the school tax, it pretty much attacked anything over $3 million already. So I think it's more complicated. We need to, you just can't make snap judgments.
Thank you. Jennifer?
If I want to answer your question, I will compromise for 0.5, not 1.5. Why? There's a guidelines for real property tax. The project management department of City Hall would have to analyze everything according to the law. And if we can compromise, all the mansions here in Vancouver should be taxed. Yes, I am with that.
Thank you. Next question, please. And don't be shy to introduce yourselves as well, questioners. We're not anonymous here.
I'm Jillian. I'm a teacher, so I wish the school tax would actually go to schools. But my question is, Stanley Park is being outright logged by a private logging corporation with no scientific basis. I'd like everybody just to say what their position is on Stanley Park. Would you advocate a pause on the logging until a full scientific review has been done and individual tree assessments?
Smothering us.
Thank you. We'll do 30 seconds for this question as well, and I think we're now starting with Lucy Malone.
So with the logging in Stanley Park, I think one of the issues has been that there's been a perception of conflict of interest because the company that was asked to do the assessment of what needed to be done was the same company that recommended what logging had to be carried out and is carrying it out. So naturally people have questions about that, but I don't think that I think one of the problems that we have with Park Board at the moment is councillors interfering with the decisions that Park Board...
Okay, we're time. Thank you. Annette?
Hi, Jeremy. You know what, I'm going to go back to something that Tom Digby originally wanted, which was, we need to be making sure that the assessments are being done. We need to make sure that we've got the evidence that each tree is supposed to be coming down, that is actually coming down. And I know he had mentioned before to pause to make sure these assessments work. I know there's...
I'm just going to ask our sound guy to give just a little latitude for the answers so that people aren't cut off right at the end. We're being very efficient and it's great, so we can get to as many questions, but let's be a little more generous to the speakers so that they have a chance to finish a thought. Go ahead, Sean.
Yeah, sound guys have always been my worst nightmare. So, I'm just going to read a statement that I said. I just wrote this before I came here. The logging in Stanley Park perfectly sums up how FENSIM and ABC do business. Secrecy, unaccountability, and a lack of integrity. By failing to provide credible scientific evidence to substantiate their claims, By rewarding contracts and backrooms, they are echoing how they conduct their business in other parts of the city. Intimidation, conflicts of interest, and ignoring the community. As a city councilor, I will call on ABC to stop the ongoing logging in Stanley Park, comprehensive scientific review, and independent risk assessment. This should include thorough tree inspections that take into account ecological, wildlife, and recreational values.
Well done.
Ditto.
There you go. Roller Girl, do you have something to say about logging in Stanley Park?
Just if you take our trees, that's our air. They're suffocating us. We're going to get suffocated. We're taking away our eagles. We're taking away our natural habitat. We're taking away our fish. We're going to stop over-salting our land. We gotta take our land back. We need to take it all back. You know, we need to sensibility, man. Let's plant our plants instead of cutting it down.
Okay, thank you.
That's our air, man. Let's leave us alone. Thank you.
So, Theodore?
Yes, so we need to halt the logging in Stanley Park until an independent scientific review can be done. And we think that there needs to be individual tree assessments being done, which they're saying it's being done, but it's not. We fully support the elected park board, but that doesn't mean that we don't disagree with them sometimes. And this is one of those areas where we disagree with them. Okay, I've gone out to various actions that the Save Stanley Park Society has undertaken. I think what they're doing is great. And I think Sean's right. I mean, it's emblematic of backroom dealings. Blackwell did the tree assessment, and then Blackwell also got the contract. A logging company is going to log. That's what they do. So I think it's awfully sketchy, and we need to call for a halt.
Thank you. Jennifer?
If we don't stop the illegal logging right now, there will be high-rise condos in Stanley Park. In the near 5 years from now, there will be condos there. So I support this organization, which is in the Instagram, Save Stanley Park. So they are advocating for this, and now my fingernails are about Save Stanley Park. So we